Hey and welcome to MFFLtv. I'm your host Dylan, and in today's video we're going to be just breaking down the roster at the moment. In my opinion, just going to be telling who I think should start, who I think should be coming off the bench, who I think the key third stringers should be. Sort of changed the video last minute. Was going to do an in-depth stats analysis on Lauri Markkanen to see whether the Mavs should go after him. But let me know if that's something you do want to see. Always making whatever content you guys like as well. That being said, make sure to like and subscribe as well. It really does help out the channel. But more importantly, let's get straight into today's video, looking at who I think should be the starting five for the upcoming season. Starting off, do I even really need to get into this too much? Luka Doncic is starting at point guard for me. I could probably go on for a few minutes just rambling about how great he is, but just for time's sake, he averaged 27.7, 8 rebounds, and 8.6 assists a game. That's 6th in the league in points, 5th in assists, and 21st in rebounds. He's just phenomenal. One of the best players in the NBA. Could potentially go down as the best Mav of all time. I don't think we even really need to be on this too much. He's, everyone knows Luka. He's been there. So, at shooting guard, I am going with my man, Tim Hardaway Jr., just coming off 16.6 points a game, 3.3 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. Also just signed a huge deal in the offseason, bringing him back. And I love to see him back. And I think he's going to go straight into that starting lineup. As you can see, when he was a starter last season, he averaged 18.6 points a game, which is a big boost. And I think, we don't need too much offense around Luka, but I think having him there with KP in the starting lineup, no spoilers, KP is going to start, really just helps out. I think especially takes the pressure off KP. Doesn't necessarily need to be that second guy every night because, as we know, Hardaway can just go off for 30 at any given night. So Porzingis, doesn't need that pressure of consistently putting up numbers every night. However, one thing as well with Tim Hardaway Jr. that I don't think gets talked about enough is, he puts his body on the line. He's a really energy guy. He does anything for the team. So he was actually 6th in charges drawn in the entire NBA and 5th in charges drawn per game. I think that's really instrumental. Yes, he's not the best one-on-one defender, but, he does what he can for the team. He brings that spark, brings that energy, and, he never quits. So I think Jason Kidd's probably going to put him in the starting lineup as well. And I definitely agree with that. I think that'd be a good move. So moving on. Next up, Reggie Bullock. If you do want to see an in-depth breakdown of Reggie Bullock, I did post a video a few days ago. The link will be in the description. Sort of just detailing how good of a shooter he is, why the Mavericks will really benefit from having him. Just a quick recap. 10.9 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, 1.5 assists. Nothing out of this world. However, on wide open threes, so when you got 6+ feet from the opposing defender, he shot the three ball at 46.9%. So he's a lethal knockdown three-point shooter. As we know, with Luka, you're going to get those. So I think he's going to be a key part of the starting lineup. Not only that, but defensively, he's rough. He gets up in people's face. He's a good defender. And I think we need more players like that. So Bullock, for me, definitely goes in. I've been a huge fan for a while. And I think he's that perfect 3-and-D guy, and he's going to slot right into that small forward position. Now, moving on, I'm going to have to do this one from over here because I just couldn't find a better photo of Finney-Smith. But yes, Dorian FinneySmith will be starting at the 4 if I was in charge. He just came off 9.8 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 1.7 assists. Again, like Bullock, nothing crazy, but he did take 5 threes a game last season, shot at 39.2%. Very good, no complaints. And when he was wide open, it bumped up a little notch to 40.9% with 4.2 threes a game attempted of those. So, similar to Bullock, he does a lot of the things that don't show up in the stat sheets. He's, great intangible player, does all the dirty work, will guard the other team's best player. And he's someone every team needs. So again, 3-and-D, really versatile, can guard 1 through 4, some 5s in today's NBA. And I think you got to keep him there. So I'm going Dorian Finney-Smith as my power forward. And at center, the big Latvian, Kristaps Porzingis. Look, yes, he had a bit of a down season, but he still did average 20.1 points a game, 8.9 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. And on a really bad season, still got 1.3 blocks a game. He does usually hover around 2 plus, so that's why that is noticed a lot. But, as everyone says, healthy off season. I think if he can get back to playing consistently with rhythm and improving his athleticism this season, he's going to potentially have a monstrous season next season. He's got it in him. He's got the game. He can do a lot on the court. He was labeled the unicorn for a reason. And hopefully next season's the one where that all comes together for him in the Mavs jersey. So I've got him in my starting lineup. Can't really complain with that. He's arguably our second best player. So I've got Porzingis. Now moving on to the bench. All right, so here I am in the middle. This is going to be my backup guard spots. I'm just going to say Josh Green isn't my favorite choice in the world. I wish we had a better backup shooting guard, and I think he would be really good as that third string where he can sort of just get minutes, get some rhythm, and not have too much pressure. But however, in the entire bench unit, I'd expect him to play the least. But he does bring some positives. He's a great defender, athletic, can get out in transition, get some easy baskets for us. He just really needs to work on that jump shot. I don't think it's the best idea to play him too much without that developed jump shot because teams can really just play 4-on-5 for a lot and not guard him out there. But he does bring a lot of energy, still really young, so I think he can still develop into a really good role player. As I said, he can get us easy points in transition as well, which I think is something we lack. So I think, just coming in, bringing energy. The home fans are back this season, so I think he can feed off that as well. When players don't have too much skill and they're more energy guys, they really do feed off that crowd. So I think, coming off, he can have a decent season. I think that's maybe one thing we definitely need to address if we wanted to improve. But for now, I've got Josh Green as my backup shooting guard. And for my backup point guard, the guy really going to be carrying the second unit, Jalen Brunson, came off averaging 12.6 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Similar to Reggie Bullock, if you want to see a more in-depth breakdown, the link is in the description where I compare him to Goran Dragic. I think, the only thing for Jalen Brunson for me is just his distribution. I don't think he gets others involved enough for my liking. Working under a head coach like Jason Kidd, Hall of Fame point guard, I think that can definitely help. If Kidd can teach him the game, I think, Brunson can move on to even bigger and better things next season and play, take that next step up, which would be huge for us. So that's definitely one thing to look for. Also, Josh Green, Jason Kidd has had a reputation of developing young players in Milwaukee. Could Josh Green be one of those? He's definitely got some potential. The athleticism is always something there. The defense is always something as well that can get you onto the court. So I think if he can just, fine-tune the other skills, just, maybe not even become a great shooter, but if he can just practice corner threes, at least make defenses have to worry about him, I think he would be really good for this team as well. So that's definitely one person to watch out for. Want him there as well. You always want to play the young guys, try and develop them. So hopefully he can have a great season. Now moving up to the front court for the bench, I have Sterling Brown, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell. So first of all, Sterling Brown, one of our two marquee signings, I guess. He did come off 8.2 points a game, 4.4 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. He was also in the detailed video I talked about before with Reggie Bullock. As I said, the link is in the description. I talk about both of them in depth, what they can do, what their strengths are. So basically, he's a lockdown three-point shooter. He, hits it at a very good clip. Has shown signs of good defense as well. So hopefully, if he can be a 3-and-D guy off the bench, that would really be a big boost. And then maybe if he's hot, someone you can trust for closing games because he won't be a liability on defense. Next, Maxi Kleber. I know he's moved to the bench, but that's not because I'm down on him or anything. He didn't have the greatest playoffs, but, there were talks that he was playing with an injury. And I think, off the bench with Powell, they both have great chemistry together. They're both really good friends. Maybe they can, bring some spark to that second unit. Maxey, another 3-and-D guy, someone who can guard the other team's best player, especially on that second unit. I think he can really cause a havoc defensively. And someone spot up, wide open threes, also get out in transition for some lobs. So Maxi Kleber is definitely going to be a key part of that second unit for me. Also, Dwight Powell, last season he didn't have his greatest season, and I've been a bit harsh on him as well, saying that he's probably one of the players I'd trade. But I think he's someone that can probably have a much better season next season. The fans are back. He's someone that sort of thrives off that. He's an energy guy as well. So I think, coming off the bench, bringing a spark, he won't be asked to do too much. Sort of just, bring in energy, pick and rolls, just catch some lobs, catch some passes under the basket and finish. And I think that's something he can definitely do. His shot has, developed slowly over time. If he can continue on that, then I think he could be a really good addition off the bench. However, he's someone I still maybe expect to get traded just because we do have way too many centers at the moment. He's probably the most expendable, but I think if we do have everyone, I think he'd probably be my backup center on a consistent basis. Now, moving on to my third string players, like just the key ones, because the lineup builder I had sort of fits in 13 players, so I thought I'd use 13 as well. For me, on the far left, Boban Marjanovic, you saw, in the playoffs he came in, didn't play much, very efficient when he came on, brought a big impact to that series, and really changed it up when the Clippers tried to go really small. He averaged, 4.7 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 0.3 assists on very low minutes a game. I think, he's someone that can come in and change it when things aren't going well. Has a great on-court relationship with Luka as well as off-court. But on-court, they do work together really well. Luka sort of just always knows how to feed him, get it to him up high. All he has to do is just finish. And then in the middle, Tyrell Terry. I think he's someone I want to start seeing a bit more. I don't think he's ready to be a consistent part in the rotation. Looking at Summer League, he's very turnover prone. He makes quite a few mistakes. However, he does show flashes. He can hit some threes. He did finish through contact in Summer League quite a few times as well, which I thought was impressive. It was a shame we didn't get to see him enough. But, someone, when the game's a blowout, sort of just try and get his minutes and prove something to the coach. And on the far right, Moses Brown, coming off 8.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 0.2 assists for Oklahoma. He's someone who could maybe, go into that backup center position. He's shown really good potential. It was on a bad team, so I don't know how well it will translate into the Dallas. But, another athletic pick and roll guy that can be a lob threat, lob partner to Luka potentially. Someone come in, block shots on defense. So I think he's definitely one to look out for. Not sure if he should get thrown in straight away. I've seen a lot of reports where he makes a lot of mistakes on defense. He gets caught out trying to block people too much, which, is pretty common for young centers. So I think he's someone that in the future, if he doesn't get traded, could eventually work into that backup center position. But these are my three key third string players to look out for. So just a quick recap. My starting five will be Luka, Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Porzingis. Where my second unit will be Brunson, Josh Green, Sterling Brown, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell. And my three kind of key third string players, Boban, Tyrell Terry, and Moses Brown. So that's my team. Let me know what you guys think of that. What you agree with, what you disagree with, how your team would look as well. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It does really help out the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.